Let's get into this men's race because a week prior in Dendermonde, we saw Wout van Aert riding away from everybody, winning by 2 minutes. And then we come around a week later, Mathieu van der Poel appears to be the most dominant racer in cross. Is his is his is his is the arrival of Mathieu van der Poel absolute? I mean, is this the Mathieu van der Poel we've been waiting to see this cross season? And will he look back, or do Wout van Aert, do Tom Pidcock still have a chance to challenge him in these this final World Cup and at the World Championships?
I mean, if you looked at his face during that race and just his like smoothness, even just on the barriers, no one else looks that in control. Like he is just a machine. He is the Terminator. I can't even explain it. It is just the smoothest thing in the world. And I'm going to give Wout all the credit in the world for crushing that muddy race. But it's not like Mathieu can't do racing in the mud. He's great in the mud. Last weekend wasn't his race. This weekend, obviously his race. I think he's going to win Worlds. I don't think there's much of a question about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dendermonde was it was a unique race. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a one-off, muddy, sloppy cyclocross races that require ridiculous amounts of running. That is something that, depending on the weather, we could see at the World Championships. But Wout just seemed to be very good at running in that race, and it seemed to be the running that helped him carry that gap and extend it as much as he did. The other thing is that these are guys, if we're looking at the gaps between these racers, Van Aert, Van der Poel, and then we should get around to Pidcock and whether he is or not in the conversation. But these are World Tour racers, and I think that is also part of the reason we are seeing the gaps that we're seeing. I mean, you've got Van Aert and Van der Poel having raced the Tour of Flanders, Van Aert having raced the Tour de France. These are guys with Grand Tours in their legs, and poor Toon Ertz, like poor Michael Van Turnhout. Todd Pidcock, an established road racer as well, a world champion on the road. Recently a world championship medalist at the under 23 world. So yeah, I guess the question is anybody in the conversation besides these three? And is Pidcock, is he really in that conversation with Van Aert and Van der Poel?
You know me, I always want Lars van der Haar to be in the conversation. I don't even know why. I think it's probably because like he's one of the few that's still kind of left from when I first got into the sport in 2012. So deep love to him and the Telenet Fidea guys. I feel so bad for them because I mean, we're not just talking about Grand Tour riders. We're talking about people who've done really well in the Grand Tours and in these big races. It's not just like they're like pack fodder. They're up there. I don't think there is a conversation other than Wout or Mathieu. I think Pidcock maybe in a few years. But I just, unless something real drastic happens, I don't see it. And I'm gonna say with the muddy race from last weekend, I think Wout has the muscular running down maybe over Mathieu. Like Mathieu might have the leg length, but I think Wout's got the muscle to get through that mud better.
We should mention that Wout was held up by a tumble, a bumble, a stumble, a gaff in the pits. His bike was tangled up with a bike it looked like by Lawrence Vex mechanic, and that was about the time that Van der Poel was riding away with this race, so it might have been a little bit closer except for that stumble in the pit, but ultimately Van der Poel just seemed to have the legs on the day there. interesting. Interesting. Yeah, to see the you don't see Van Aert making a lot of mistakes in the pit.
No, you know what it actually reminded me of was the World Championships with Lucinda Brand and her pit fail that cost her the win. I think it was 2 years ago, in Denmark. It was just the most devastating thing, and that one was like she could have won. This one he probably couldn't have, but we can maybe quantum physics our way to like what would have happened if Wout had made that really smooth bike transition there.